Well, hello everyone.
What's going on?
Yeah. Welcome to tonight's episode of IDENTECO After Dark, a show where we talk about video games, TV, music, movies, and more. My name is Mallo. I am joined, as I am every week, with my co-conspirator, Alex the Humanoid.
What's going on, everybody?
Bro, we're talking about Hawkeye, bro. That sounded a lot more like Bakersfield than Hell's Kitchen.
No, yes.
Hawk, bro.
Hawk, bro. Although I think Hawkeye kind of has that, like, he's got that Midwestern vibe going for him.
Yeah.
That's kind of his thing. He's not really a coast dude, you know, kind of like an Iowa guy.
That's true. He's pretty farm raised.
Yeah, you can tell.
It's got a little bit of the Zidarian from Angel City Stories. But like, bro, what are you doing here? Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, that's those tracksuit guys, and we're gonna get into that.
The tracksuit mafia.
So I've got my eggnog because Merry Christmas.
I have my cocoa. Merry Christmas.
Okay.
We added snow to the background. We're festive.
Right. We are. So can we start with the fact that this is a Christmas show?
Well, first off, I just want to shout out to King's Coast Coffee.
Oh yeah.
And King's Cocoa. Hashtag not a sponsorship, but should sponsor us because they sponsor a lot of streamers. Darkness429. Yes. If anybody at Darkness429 on Facebook and Twitch, if you would like to tell them to come sponsor our show, because Timmy is really good and he runs GCX and many other things. But Cocoa's quite nice, so it's very lovely. Okay, Christmas show, the Die Hard of the Marvel Universe. Alex, go.
First off, I'm really happy with the idea that they did this as a Christmas show.
Yep.
And I think later I'd like to chat about kind of the business side of what Disney Plus is doing and why I think they're doing it smart. But branding this as a Christmas show and also putting that time limit. So starting in the first episode where I loved the interaction with his kids, the scene, and we're going to get into some light spoiler territory.
Oh no, okay. This is total spoiler territory. By the way, this is total spoiler territory, just like Cowboy Bebop last week. Before we get into it too much, we've both watched. I think we both made time today to watch episode 3, so we are caught up. Yep. I've read everything that I'm going to read, etc. Now we keep going.
So I loved the initial interaction, which was a great setup in my opinion, when he's with his kids at the restaurant and he's like, all right, what do you guys want to do for Christmas, right? And they start listing all the stuff like the Christmas movie marathon and all the other stuff and the things they want to do. Like, I loved the way they set up the time frame on this.
Mm-hmm.
And his sense of urgency. Like, he wants to be done with this.
Yeah. I actually think Clint Barton has wanted to be done with this like 7 movies ago. He just has that air about him. Like, it's like that line from Clerks. Like, I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Right. You know, we're getting some very Lethal Weapon. I'm getting too old for this stuff. Right? Like, that's kind of the sense that I get. But I like it. Now, this thingy, he was basically retired when his shit got snapped. And actually, Grandpa Joe brings that up in chat about when the snap happened.
Yep.
And what I love about not just this show, but a lot of the Marvel shows they've been dealing with, both, especially in Falcon and Winter Soldier and in here, which is they're really hammering home that Thanos snapped away half the freaking universe. And when everybody got brought back, that was not clean. No. Like, it was not a good day for everyone necessarily, right? Like, yeah, Hawkeye gets his family back, but there's a lot of chaos and crap that comes along with that.
Yep.
You know, and I love that they're touching on that. I think framing it around Christmas is a great way of framing it.
Well, and I like that it's 6 days before Christmas in the first episode, and there are 6 episodes. So, by logic, Christmas will be the last episode. Well, we think. We'll see. I mean,
I want him to make it home.
I know. I mean, that seems to always be the way.
So, one of the other reasons I love the way they're framing this, because they start with his family and his kids. And if you haven't watched it yet, a lot of this show is framed around his time as Ronin.
Yes.
Which was like a very brief section of Endgame.
Yes.
Right? Where, Natasha's looking for him, and then there's other stuff, and we know he's doing that. And the thing that I remember from Endgame and kind of seeing what they did there was I was like, no, I totally get where Clint's coming from. Like, I sympathized with him and why he went on his crusade as Ronin during the 5-year interim period, right? Yeah. Where he got this sense of, my entire family, not even half, my entire family was part of that 50%, and you gangster motherfuckers didn't go away.
Right.
I'm going to end you because of that.
Well, and I don't know if we're going to get to that in this series or if ever, because we're moving on to, we confirmed before we went live, we're in phase 4 of the MCU. But none of the gangsters and the things went away. So we'll get into some Easter eggs and some controversial. Yeah, we'll get into the fun stuff of guessing what's going on in the series and stuff like that here in a bit. But none of that went away. In fact, in some cases, at least that we're seeing blips of it. And this is where I'm going to give the first Easter egg and spoiler to Daredevil, Netflix's Daredevil. All of that happens roughly in same timelines and things like that. It seems like it's more canon.
Yes. So
yeah,
that's the big one at the end of episode 3, right? Is who's the uncle?
Right. Yeah. Right. Let's just jump right into that.
Well,
let me give a recap of episode 3.
Let's recap. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna assume that you've seen up to episode 3 because the episode 3 came out today. I'm not gonna run through everything in episodes 1 and 2, but episode 3 starts with Kate and Clint still tied up, being talked to by the tracksuit bros. They escape. They have a fight with Echo. This is our first time we've been introduced to Echo.
Well, first they kind of give some background on Echo.
True.
Right? Which I think helps. So you kind of see Echo at the end of episode 2, and then they start episode 3 with, this is who Echo is. Echo is a deaf child, and she's got her dad, who she loves, right? And he's a great dude, and everything's fine. And she, through her disability, she becomes this great martial artist, and and then sometime during the blip, during Ronin's crusade, he kills her father and basically everybody she knows.
We think. So
we know it's Ronin.
So here's the thing.
I figured that flashback was legit. That Ronin was during this period, he was just yeah, I'm going to kill all you people.
Okay, so here's where we're going to get into a little bit of the stuff. Because this was touched in on Netflix's series of Daredevil, which will become Marvel's Daredevil. And this is where we're going to tie into Spider-Man No Way Home, because there's some stuff there too, which we're going to get to later in the show. So in the comics, Echo is basically raised by Kingpin. Kingpin is the one that has her dad killed. We don't know if Kingpin actually set up that whole thing and sent Ronin down there, because the whole thing is Echo's going to become, we know this because she's getting her own spinoff series. And Echo's actually has a superpower that is kind of like Taskmaster, where she can mimic anybody's fighting style just by watching them for a minute or so. And that's how she's able to that was how she was able to do the karate stuff as the kid in the flashback, and in the boxing ring during that portion of the flashback. She's obviously got some superpowers when it comes to that. It's not Wolverine level, all that kind of stuff, but she's very adept at what she does. But in the comics, again, she originally worked for Kingpin, or Uncle, as we're hearing about it in this particular one, and then turned on him, and eventually, actually, in one of the versions, actually kills him. because she finds out that it was actually Kingpin that had her dad killed. In one version of it, he actually does it himself. In another version, he gets somebody to dress up like Daredevil. There's a bunch of different versions out there with it, but it seems like they're all pulling from the concept that Echo is eventually going to become a good person unless they're going to do their first series about a true villain, because Loki was supposed to be that, and then it turns out he really wasn't a villain the entire time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's very interesting to kind of see how this is going to play out when it comes to that series. And that's why I kind of wonder if the flashback is true, because we did see a flash of the Ronin costume in there, but could it? I mean, there's a bunch of different theories that could be setting that up, but
you could say, in this case, I'm more apt to take it just as written because of the stuff that they're doing with Clint. And so, kind of going back to our recap, when Echo comes out to talk to Clint says, she's like, because they're all coming after Kate, because Kate got a hold of the Ronin costume, because somebody stole it from the Avengers compound, and she put it on to hide her identity when they were at the auction. And Clint tells her, he's like, look, Ronin's dead. Ronin's gone. And she goes, well, who killed him? And he says, Black Widow, which metaphorically makes sense. Okay, yeah, Black Widow came after Ronin and convinced him to come back and not be Ronin anymore. Right. So Black Widow killed Ronin. And she's like, well, how do you know? He's like, I was there. But he doesn't let go that nobody but him thus far in the series, not even Kate Bishop, and she knows that he's connected to Ronin.
Right.
And there's the diner scene later in that episode where she's like, well, you obviously are protecting Ronin's identity because it's obviously somebody very close to you. And he's like, yeah, sure, somebody close to me.
Well, and I think his wife knows. I think his wife is aware of who he was while she was gone.
Based on the text messages from episode 1 where she's like, you're taking care of this, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm dealing with it.
Yeah, and she was, and then there was a give in episode 1, and when she mentions the tracksuit team by name, and she's like, oh God, those idiots again.
Yeah. I'm presuming that after she was snapped back into existence by Hulk.
Yeah.
That he told her everything that happened to him during the 5-year period in which she was gone. So here's my on the uncle thing.
Okay.
So the presumption across the interwebs today, is that uncle is Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin.
Yep.
So this is actually where I take issue with not Disney, but Marvel. So when the Marvel Netflix shows first released, they were like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they were supposed to be canon.
Yes.
Right? And there were like newspaper articles about the attack on New York by the Chitauri and all through there. So everybody who's now going back going, well, those aren't canon. Well, Kevin Feige kind of like half gave and said, no, they're not really canon anymore. I don't like that Marvel's kind of waffling.
I think
on whether those are canon or not.
I think he's doing that though because, in true Feigeism, I think he's ready to play certain cards at certain times, and I also think that was given tools later on, much like Spider-Man, that he didn't think he was going to have going into it. And I think we talk a lot about, especially on Chaos Incorporated and stuff like that, about yarn walls and stuff like that. I think Feige and the Star Wars teams have the biggest fucking yarn walls. It's like one of those like mind maps from hell of everything that's going on.
And Chad, don't get me wrong. I think that in the Daredevil series, first off, I thought Charlie Cox was a great Daredevil. But Vincent D'Onofrio was born to play Kingpin.
Yeah, I haven't seen the series, but the possible connections, I've seen parts of the series of Vincent D'Onofrio playing Kingpin, and holy fuck,
he was perfectly cast as Kingpin. Him being that guy.
Yeah.
He has not only the physical stature, because he's a big dude.
Yep.
But also he's a freaking.
Well, he puts on a masterclass in villainy because. Well, and you see, like there's a lot of parallels, and I want to get into this in a little bit, but there's a lot of parallels to Clint's story and the Kingpin story, coming from nothing, learning a craft, doing the thing, becoming the shadowy figure behind everything that's going on. Like, so in a teaser in episode 1, I don't know if anybody notices this, but like in episode 1, the place that the gala was at, the hotel that the gala was being held at, is Kingpin's hotel that he purchased in season 3 of Daredevil. It's the same one. Yeah, absolutely. Go back and watch that episode, because you see Charlie Cox outside scoping the place. It's the exact same location. So, and I know that Feige doesn't, like, I know that location scouts for Marvel didn't do that just because it was an easy reuse. That has to play into some shit later on.
Look, I'm going to be thrilled if they bring back D'Onofrio's Kingpin and if he's actually Uncle. But we got burned in WandaVision.
With which part?
With the I know this rocket scientist dude and he can help us and do.
Oh yeah, and
everybody was like, please tell me, because they had announced Fantastic Four was coming. Yes. Like, it was coming. They were like, please let this be Reed Richards. Please let this be Reed Richards. And it was just some rando.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a random dude. And so I'm kind of hesitant. Like, as much as I would love for it to be Vincent D'Onofrio, I am very like, and this will tie into our Spider-Man conversation for later. I am very much like, I'm not going to believe it until I see it.
Well, let me give you some more stuff as to why Uncle is Kingpin. If you notice in episode 3, they pull up to, in the flashback scene, Echo pulls up to Fat Man Auto. So, and her dad is obviously one of the tracksuit bros, which we know work for the Kingpin.
In the comics.
In the comics, yeah. And they've been following the Matt Fraction comic series very, very tightly in this particular show, which is great. And so I think all things are pointing to Kingpin. There is the red lighting. Why is there the dramatic red lighting for Echo, if not for the Daredevil series? Because that's the hallmark of the Daredevil series, right? Red lighting, all that kind of stuff. It's also something that's used by the blind, like red, infrared, and stuff like that is used by the blind. She's not blind, she's deaf. Like, it plays in a little bit differently from there. So they're blending the fuck out of these series, and I sure as hell do. Same. I need Vincent D'Onofrio's
all those characters from those Netflix series in.
Well, so here's the thing that kind of goes, is we know there's going to be a new Daredevil series from Marvel that has been announced, which brings call it Charlie Cox, all of those.
But Charlie Cox said that he did not confirm that he's involved in that in any way.
Probably because his contract isn't around. There's other people that can do that. As we learned this week, that there's some people apparently that won't get in trouble for saying that a new series was coming. And then there's Tom Holland.
Amy Pascal?
Yeah, and then there's Tom Holland, who can't be told anything because he'll leak everything.
By the way, did you see the minute Amy Pascal said that, Sony immediately denied it?
Yeah.
Today.
That's because the ink hadn't dried on the check, probably.
They were like, no, what are you talking about? We don't have any more Spider-Man movies planned. No.
There's also this thing in negotiating in business that if you want something to happen, you just put it out there into the world, and it's eventually going to happen, right?
Probably. So I hope Uncle is Kingpin. I think that would be great. Again, D'Onofrio was perfectly cast. He makes a great Kingpin. He's got the physical stature for it. He's a fucking chameleon.
Yes.
Okay. Like, who was I? Oh God, I saw a thing. There was a whole big TikTok trend for a little while that was going around because it was how many people didn't realize that Vincent D'Onofrio was the alien in Men in Black 1. He was and so many people were like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, and I used to watch him on Law and Order: Criminal Intent.
Yep.
Right, because I loved him in that show. Obviously, Full Metal Jacket.
Yes.
You know, like, the guy is just. He'll gain weight, drop weight, do whatever he needs to do. Like, I'm a buck, right? Like, yeah, like he's an amazing actor. So,
can I say that it's interesting here too, by the way, that when I was Googling the cast, because I was trying to get to the IMDb Pro page for this, Google actually lists Florence Pugh as a cast member in Hawkeye.
So this comes to you and I we're about to talk about this beforehand, and this is what I think is happening. So we are now. So let's back up a stage. So we're in phase 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Officially, this is apparently our 5th show of phase 4.
Yeah.
Right. So it was WandaVision, Falcon, Loki, What If, Hawkeye.
By the way, for the record, we blew past exactly what we just said the run of show was going to be before we went on, because we haven't given you our impressions of this show at all.
Now we're going to come back. So I think it's all going to come down to that post-credit stinger.
That's right? That's what you're putting your chips on right now.
Putting my money on that, and that's where Florence Pugh is going to come in.
It has a good chance, yes.
So
here's the thing I would like to say. I think so. Hawkeye. So I'm gonna get back to impressions of it, because we've gone through.
Yeah.
This whole episode was essentially a car chase scene. There was some very touching moments. There was, especially when Clint lost his hearing aid. He couldn't hear his son on the phone. As a father, tough scene to watch, but important, right? Huge character building moment. But essentially, this was like most
showed how he lost his hearing in episode 2.
Yeah,
that was good too, because they were like, "How did you lose your hearing?" And he like showed all those flashbacks of him like
montage getting his ass kicked
to his head. Yep. Like they like, me. And I will tell you, as somebody who has hearing issues from explosions, that's a thing.
Yes. Well, and I think what I like, again, it tends to hammer home the point that like Clint is a person who has no superpowers whatsoever in a superhero world, because in the same time, Spider-Man's gonna be running around New York very soon, and you know, Sam and Bucky are running around somewhere. Wanda's blowing up half of New York.
Well, that was Jersey. I mean,
in Jersey,
and everything's legal in New Jersey.
Well, that's true. Loki's somewhere the fuck out there. It's like, I don't know. I think it's just interesting that like they're bringing all of these different pieces and parts together to really like build out Clint's story. But I want to come back to the Echo thing a little bit, because I haven't seen anybody actually talk about this. So I might put a weird theory out there into the world that we'll see if it plays out. We know there's going to be an Echo series. It's already been announced, all that kind of stuff. I find it interesting. There's an interesting parallel, because you brought it up at the beginning about the kids, where he's in New York, you know, they're talking with the kids and wanting to have fun over Christmas holiday and stuff like that. And I think that, you know, this whole journey of him getting back to his family, getting back to his kids and stuff like that, I find is interesting, because as of right now, Clint Barton has actually met his other 2 kids in the show. And hang with me when I say this, because Kate Bishop and Echo are born of the same thing. So
in the comics,
well, but even in this show, so Kate Bishop lost her father.
I see what you're saying.
Kate Bishop lost her father figure in the Battle of New York, and put that hero worship of her father onto Clint, because she could see what he was doing. And he kind of saved her life with that era.
Yeah, the minute the thing, because the Chitauri was coming toward her, and then he was like, yeah, no.
Yep. And Echo is the same thing, but from the other side. Clint Barton, because of Ronan.
Right.
Yeah. So it's literally the yin and yang, the light side and dark side of this one character manifested in 2 women who are basically taking up the mantle for either side of that, because Echo very much fights like Ronan. You know, she doesn't carry a bow and arrow and stuff like that. She carries more weaponry and things. Kate Bishop obviously carries a bow and arrow and wants to be Hawkeye. Well, will be Hawkeye, right?
Eventually, yeah.
I haven't heard anybody talk about it like this. So let's clip this for the TikToks, I guess, because they are literally like born of Clint Barton, the person, and his multiple sides, because
yeah,
as we're starting to learn, he's starting to kind of not necessarily loosen up, but just tell Kate straight up, I'm not a role model. Meaning all of because we still don't know all the bullshit that he and Natasha did back in Budapest.
And that's another thing I love about this show, is that he was like, look, I was supposed to be a ghost. The first couple times we're introduced to Hawkeye is in Thor, right? Mm-hmm. When he's basically sitting there about to put an arrow into Thor when Thor shows up to reclaim his hammer after he's sent to Earth, right?
Yeah.
And it was very brief. And then the second time is at the beginning of Avengers, when they're like, when Fury shows up and he's like, where is Hawkeye? He's like, he's up in his nest.
Yep.
And Hawkeye's like climbed up to the top of the thing and he's just kind of sitting there. Like, Hawkeye was, at least in this iteration of the MCU, he's basically just an enforcer for Nick Fury. That was his job.
They were trained.
His muscle.
Well, and much like Natasha, they were trained, when they both became part of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff like that. There's a history of everything that before S.H.I.E.L.D. that I think was played out a little bit in Black Widow and the whole, Widow program and stuff like that, right? But then how everybody kind of came together and stuff, like, there's history there that we probably will never get to in the fullness of time, at least in the Marvel version of all this stuff. But, there's a whole kind of thing, which, I mean, brings it back to the end of the cliffhanger for episode 3 was, the swordsman played, Jack Duquesne is actually known as the swordsman. By the way, Tony Dalton is a fucking amazing pick for this one. We talk about Vincent D'Onofrio for Kingpin, but Tony Dalton with the mustache, mustache bros, we stick together, but like with the mustache and the smarmy look and the like almost fucking Gomez kind of feel from the Addams Family to what he's doing and shit, and I'm like, fuck yeah, this is amazing. So really loving that fact. But like in the comics, he's the one that trains Ronan and trains Hawkeye when they were in the circus and stuff. So like there's all that background that we just probably will never get to with it. The show ends with, the swordsman basically holding Ronan's sword up to Clint. And we'll figure out how that resolves next week.
At the auction,
Well, he stole it. He didn't buy it. He actually got outbid. Remember, he stole it.
That's right.
I have theories about. We'll get to that here in a second. I have theories about that particular character, by the way, and how this. Like, I want to get to how we think the last 3 episodes are going to go and wrap up. Because
are we really done? Only 3?
Yeah, it's only a 6 episode kind of thing. This is
Marvel.
Marvel.
To move fast.
I think it will. I think we're gonna get a little bit more of a training in Arrow montage next episode. Or now that's gonna be episode 5. We're gonna get a little bit of the fallout and the oh shit moment in episode 4, where we're into the middle 8s right now. We're into where everything falls the fuck apart. And then we're gonna start to go quickly to the climax of this. I feel like if they're following the standard 3-act structure. So. Again, overall, kind of impression. I think the show's really well done. Yeah, I think that they're doing a solid job. I like Haley Steinfeld in her spot as Kate Bishop. I think she's doing a good job. That dog is adorable. Okay, we're getting so close to him actually having the full name. We got Pizza Dog this episode. Yes. Now we just need the lucky part. Yep. So we're gonna get there. Again, impressions. I think it's a great show. I'm glad they framed it around Christmas. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it shows a lot about Clint. Yep. I'm glad they're finally starting to deal with stuff. Yeah. Like they're trying to resolve a bunch of like hanging shit in these shows. Yes. They did it with WandaVision. They did it with Loki. They're like, there's shit that we just don't have time to get to in the movies. So we're going to resolve that here. Well, and I think so. So I kind of want to figure out, and we're going to talk about phase 4 in a second, but to me, I don't think so. I'm trying to figure out who actually is the big bad in this particular series, because Echo obviously and the Tracksuit Mafia, they got beef and stuff like that. I don't think that's going to be the one that ultimately resolves. I actually do think we're going to get Vincent D'Onofrio at some point in time in this series. We might get 2 stingers at the end of this one because we're finally starting to get to the spy shit that Clint is so good at.
This is the other reason why I don't think, while I'm kind of like meh on whether they're going to bring in Vincent D'Onofrio, because I think Jack Duquesne is the big bad for this series.
Mm-hmm. I disagree on that. I think it's actually Kate's mom, and she is a lieutenant for Kingpin. And
okay.
Jack has been I don't think Jack was the one that killed his uncle.
All right, somebody clip that because we're going to have to come back at the end of the series and do another podcast and see who's right.
We'll do it at the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett because we're going to have our third with Joe on that one.
Yeah. So I don't disagree that Kate Bishop's mom definitely gave off like some evil shit vibes. Mm-hmm. And, like I run a security company like her mom does is like movie code for I'm a bad guy.
Yeah.
Like that's just kind of a well-worn trope. So that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Well, and she's
much.
like
her being a lieutenant for the Kingpin is going to surprise me a little bit.
Well, if you think about it, right? So in episode 1, when the attack at the gala happened, she seemed completely nonplussed.
Yep.
When she was messing around in episode 1 with Kate, young Kate, she was showing off a few skills, which makes me think that she actually can fight and may have some sort of powers. Because let's be honest, you shouldn't be that good at all of the things, and Kate really is. Honestly, none of the arrows should be able to fly the way they do, but Marvel physics, yay.
Yay.
But like, again, in the comics, she was the Masked Madam, which makes me think that she's gonna make it away. What's that?
Yeah. Was she?
Yes.
Oh.
Which makes me think she's gonna make it away scot-free. Because remember, the Swordsman started out as the trainer of Clint, then the foil to Clint, Hawkeye, and then they teamed up a lot over the years and stuff. I mean, the Swordsman's kind of an old character.
Yeah, I know he's really old school.
Yeah, really like Kirby years type stuff. Which makes me think that I don't think it. Here's the thing. He looks too fucking smarmy. It's too much it's too much like, okay, it's right in your face. Bad guy right here with big neon sign over it that says bad guy stole shit. I don't think, because I think it's all a red herring. Because again, at the gala when the wall blew up and he was downstairs and everything like that, he was way too calm just walking up there and stealing a sword, right?
Yeah.
And if he's the swordsman and he knows of we may get a little bit of the next episode might start with like a Hey Pops kind of deal where he looks at it and goes, haven't seen you in a while kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
That could be really interesting and open it up. I think that he will eventually die at the hands of somebody.
In this series, or do you think they'll keep him around for a little bit?
I think he will die in this series because I think I think that's where it exposes the connection that Kate's mom has with the larger. Because if you're the Kingpin and you've got a security company under your thumb like that, because remember in the first episode they were going to go broke, and all of a sudden now they got a security company with the insurance money. Like, that's crazy. So how did she get out of debt that quickly? There's got to be something there. And then when in the episode right before the cliffhanger happens, all of the Tracksuit Mafia is listed as a client, like, of the security company, which means, and it's got a fake name to it, which makes it look like they're actually being used. So, and then Kate's mom is wearing red, just like the same color as red as the Tracksuit Mafia guy. Like, there's just those threads, man, that
I'm starting to buy it now. I'm still not sure about being a lieutenant of the Kingpin.
Yeah,
but I see where you're going, and I can't dispute anything you're saying.
I mean, lieutenant or just completely in debt and has to do what he says. There's not a lot of difference to a mobster, right?
So So since we're back on the Uncle talk a bit, here's my, and this goes for this show, and more so for Spider-Man.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of speculation that Uncle is Kingpin, and it's Vincent D'Onofrio, he's gonna be Kingpin, it's gonna be Kingpin. And again, once burned, twice shy. After WandaVision, I'm like,
Mephisto,
Mephisto, and Reed Richards, and I'm like, y'all need to, like, if you have learned nothing from Marvel, right, is first off, these motherfuckers will lie. Okay.
Rule 1, Doctor lies.
Okay. Here's the, like, and this is the one. If you remember back to the Avengers Infinity War trailer, and this is one some people keep pointing out, in the trailer, there's a scene where it's Captain America and everybody, but the big lie in it is that you see Hulk in full green form running, right? And then in the movie, he never turns into the Hulk once.
Right.
Not a single time. The other one was the Infinity Stones. In the trailer, they show Thanos, and it's the scene where Cap's holding Thanos' fist. And in the trailer, he has 2 stones.
Yeah.
Right? By that point in the movie, he's got all but the last one.
Correct.
Right? Marvel will straight up lie to you people.
Is it lying, or, and this is where I put my filmmaker hat on, of they just haven't finished. Well, no, and they just haven't finished the VFX. They
did the VFX of Thor, or sorry, of Hulk.
Yeah, but that's in the
VFX of Hulk.
Yeah, but Hulk running.
He never showed up in the movie.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, Hulk running
is VFX. Old Hulk.
Exactly.
We just see some old shit.
Yeah. The day that I stopped believing intro and sequences like that was the day that I realized that Star Wars trailer launched with 0 VFX on it, and then they went back and completely changed the story afterwards. Like, it's all done to be fun. Now, a lot of there's entire post houses that do these trailers, right?
Trailers, yeah.
They specialize in them. They don't have access to literally everything that Marvel does. So if Marvel just sends them the Hulk and tells them to put it in there, that's what they're gonna do. And that could be a creative decision, or that could be a production decision based on timelines and stuff like that. Like, if you've created the Hulk one, because they had to CGI Mark Ruffalo running in the Iron Man suit. Which, if that part wasn't done because they hadn't shot it or whatever like that by then they had nothing to work with. So they're not just going to leave it out. They'll just put the other Hulk in there and then change it later.
But again, Marvel will deceive. Marvel will
They like to have fun with it.
And they do. And again, generally I don't have a problem. Here's where I think we run into some frustrations with Marvel. And again, it's because they've at times gotten too clever for their own good, and because we're expecting them to always have these things, it brings up this consciousness of, all this speculation. Oh, Charlie Cox might be in Spider-Man. Oh, now it's Kingpin might be in Hawkeye. And obviously we have the constant Andrew and Toby are going to be in No Way Home.
Yep.
And now Andrew
won't
Garfield
be able to fucking tell me any different.
I don't know if you saw his latest interview that he did with GQ, Andrew Garfield, where he was like, I don't know how many times I can say it. He's like, I'm tired. He's like, this movie's going to be out soon, and some people are going to be able to say I told you so. and he's denied it 7 ways from Sunday.
That's fine, because he was the worst Spider-Man. I could care less if he's in the movie.
I think that, so for example, like, when I remember the online discourse, when it wasn't Reed Richards, when WandaVision was like, no, it's just some random person who's going to get him a vehicle to get through the force field that Wanda's got set up. Everybody was super disappointed. I am legit in fear of the backlash if Andrew and Toby are not in No Way Home. I am, now that I'm hearing all this, like, oh, D'Onofrio in Hawkeye, I'm like, see, the problem is that, like, a lot of these people, and it's not going to wreck my enjoyment of the show.
Fuck no.
But it does ruin a lot of the discourse in that it's like, oh, well, because D'Onofrio didn't show up at the show, now everybody's like, oh, this was crap. And I'm just like, come on.
I think, so here's the...
It frustrates me.
Well, and it's different. So here's the thing. here's why I will put down the snark and pick up the creative director and filmmaker hat. I don't think that Marvel lies, but when it comes to the shows, and even sometimes with the movies early on, before they had Disney Plus, I think they're doing it less with the movies now because they have the production budget to do these shows and do them properly. Kevin Feige will slow play the shit out of this. And so I will not be disappointed if D'Onofrio does not show up in this, but that we are heavily hinting at this, because that's the thing that Feige and Marvel do so well, is they leave you that one more thing, you know, just like you were saying, what's that post-credit scene? I'm looking for the post-credit scene. Everybody's living for the post-credit scene, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because you got people wanting to see what's next. So
my only issue is, again, if Uncle shows up next thing and it's just a random dude, it's legit her dad's brother and it's just a guy who's a gangster, you're gonna see the online discourse go
that's fine, like
it's loser crap.
Yeah, but I mean, as come on, the nerd crowd's gonna lose their crap about everything. I legitimately to follow up on our Cowboy Bebop talk from last week, which, by the way, if you haven't seen it, it's on the YouTube, go check it out. But somebody was complaining that they changed Faye Ups to the point where that she wasn't using her sexual charms to con people. And I literally read that in a Reddit post, and I'm like, but this version's better. Like, there's nothing wrong with the previous version per se, but like, we don't like,
it's a better iteration.
So everybody's going to complain about literally everything. And so, you know, I don't think that it's actually going to really slow down Marvel any when it comes to it. So,
so speaking of Marvel, so the reason I keep coming back to post credit, and we could transition to our Phase 4. So in all of our Phase 4 shows, they're building to certain things.
Yes.
Right. At the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we saw Julia Louis-Dreyfus show up and recruit the guy who is going to end up becoming U.S. agent.
Yes.
For those of our comic friends, right? And she's like, oh, you're going to come hang out with me. And then when you watch the end of Black Widow, right, one of the post-credit stingers in Black Widow, the movie, same character, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who is actually playing the character who's Lady Hydra in the comics.
Yes.
She finds Yelena. And she's like, how would you like to get the guy that killed... And so it takes place long after the actual Black Widow movie.
Yep.
It's after Natasha's died. She's like, how would you like to get the guy who killed your sister? And she's like, I want to get him. And she shows Yelena a picture of Clint.
Yep.
Right? And so my theory here is, whether it's the Dark Avengers or the Thunderbolts, which is the other argument, and we all saw Abomination was in Shang-Chi.
Yep.
Right? And we know General Thunderbolt Ross is out there somewhere being an asshole.
He's going to be Red Hulk.
Right? Is whether it's the Thunderbolts or the Dark Avengers, like, I think this is the direction they're going.
Yes.
With about half of them. And this is what I think. I think you're going to see almost a schism in the MCU.
Yes.
Where you're going to see kind of this street level, less high stakes kind of stuff. The Dark Avengers, that kind of stuff. And then you're going to see the multiversal level crazy power stuff, right? Yep. The Doctor Stranges, the Wandas, you know, those people who really on a power level structure are on really different levels.
100%. I mean, and you saw this in the first 3 phases though, too. Yeah. Right? You had the Doctor Strange, you had Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy, dealing with like Ego, the Living Planet, all that kind of stuff. And you've got these like super high level kind of things that will eventually all come back to King the Conqueror and eventually Galactus for the big Avengers event that's probably at the end of Phase 4 and 5.
So end of Phase 4 right now, as it stands, for what's announced.
Yep.
The last film announced in Phase 4 right now is Fantastic Four.
Yep.
Well, I think there's one more. I think there's one more Phase 4 probably after that, because each phase has generally ended with a big team up, and then an aftermath film.
Has it?
So, yep. So Avengers ended Phase 1, and then Age of Ultron. Yes, Age of Ultron was phase 2. And then Civil War was phase 3. Or, sorry, Civil War started phase 3. And then we ended phase 3 with Endgame. So I think there's still a movie here in phase 4 to be announced.
Yeah, and then there was an Ant-Man after Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's in there. Well, they generally do a big team up, and then at the end of the phase, they also generally do like a letdown. So right after Endgame, you had Spider-Man No Way or Far From Home.
That's technically part of phase 4. That was the beginning of phase 4.
No, so they're calling Black Widow the start of phase 4.
Or WandaVision, you mean?
Yeah. Same thing. Like the release schedules got kind of wonked up because of COVID.
Yeah.
And so Black Widow was supposed to be the start of phase 4.
Right. Okay. That makes sense.
In the original, like the way they had it structured.
Yeah.
So
I think the thing that I think is going to be, I think you're going to get Thunderbolts, because I think we're seeing that come together.
The direction they're going.
I don't think it's going to be called Dark Avengers just because the branding. So I think they'll call it the Thunderbolts, because we're going to get Young Avengers. So we're going to get Kate Bishop. We've got the twins from WandaVision. We've gotten what's his face that's going to turn into the next Captain America from the Captain America the Winter Soldier.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's going to be the new Falcon.
Ironheart has been announced.
Ironheart has been announced. Yep.
Miss Marvel.
Yep. Miss Marvel will be. Yeah, they're going to sub out. They're going to sub out a couple of people for the Young Avengers, but I think it's all going to come together. And then I think we're going to get a female Iron Man in Armor Wars. That's going to take
Ironheart. Right before Armor Wars is Ironheart. That's been announced. They're taking the Ironheart character from the comic books. Yeah.
Right. So
Riri Williams.
Yeah. And so I'm sort of wondering what the hell they're going to do in Armor Wars, because that's all the same kind of thing. So,
I think it's going to be, because you got to remember, you still, what's his name? Rhodey's still alive.
Rhodey is still alive. Yep.
Right. You got, and I think that's Riri Williams.
Well, I think you're going to get, so Rhodey's still alive, but I think you're actually going to end up with, that's going to be the Iron Man equivalent into Thunderbolts somehow in that series. I think is what it's going to come up to. Because you've got Abomination, you're going to have Red Hulk, which is going to be Thunderbolt Ross is going to turn into that.
You got Yelena as the new Black Widow.
As a Black Widow, yep.
Kate Bishop to be your Hawkeye type character.
No. That's for the evil team.
Oh.
I'm talking Young Avengers is going to be the thing. I think you're going to get Yelena is actually going to be on the Thunderbolts.
So here's our wild card, and one I'm really looking forward to in phase 4. Where does Moon Knight fit?
Fucked if I know, because we've gotten so many people that look like, tell me that Kazi does not look like a discount Kit Harington. Like when he first came out with
Echo, it was too.
I was like, what the fuck is Kit Harington doing here? What the shit? I was like, we just saw him. And then Blade, because we got Blade and we got Mahershala Ali, who's going to kill that role, frankly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't know, because and I start to kind of wonder if it might have some Black Panther pull to it. I don't know.
So sadly, last I checked, and I'll verify it right now. Black Panther True production has been halted.
Yes, because of COVID and a couple of other things.
Not because of COVID. Specifically because Letitia Wright,
yes,
who played Shuri, cannot get back into the country
because of COVID.
Because she refuses to get vaccinated.
Because of COVID.
I'm going to call her out for it. If she would get vaccinated, she could come back in the country and they could resume production.
Yep.
I'm wondering how long it is before Disney goes, you're in breach.
Pretty much. If she's going to stick to her guns so much for that, then we'll figure it out.
They'll eventually just be like, we'll recast you. We don't care. We're Disney.
Yeah, they're not going to recast Chadwick Boseman, but that's fine if they want to recast. Dead. No, but I'm saying, like, they're not going to recast for his role. Is what I'm saying. They're not going to have another male Black Panther
Nope.
Coming out into the series. So,
but they will drop Letitia Wright quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Shuri, but
but I think we live in a time now where the actor and the role that they play sometimes is harder to disassociate. And if they bring enough shit to it, right?
They got away with it early in the MCU because you remember they recasted Rhodey.
Yep. It was not originally Don Cheadle.
No, it was not. And that changed because Terrence wouldn't come back.
Yep. Because
of the money issue. Again, I don't put it past Marvel and Disney to be like, get vaccinated so you can get back in the country, or we're going to drop you.
Yeah.
And big players in the cast saying Wakanda has an entire cast they can draw from. Absolutely.
Yep.
Angela Bassett was great in that movie. I think, what's his name? Everett Ross. Watson's coming back. They've got a huge cast for that thing. So
yeah, it'll be fine, and we will get a new Black Panther. Out of.
I just want to know where Moon Knight fits in. I love Moon Knight. Moon Knight's one of my favorite characters, and I love that they got Oscar Isaac for it.
Yeah. Well, we've got that, and we've got we'll have
coming.
She-Hulk. We've got Moon Knight, and Moon Knight's the trailer for that was fantastic. I think Oscar Isaac's gonna play a great one, but where's that crossover with Kit Harington's character? He's playing Black Knight? No.
He's playing Black Knight.
Black Knight. Okay, I had it right.
He's playing Black Knight.
Too many nights.
The voice you hear, and I'm going to check this. And again, I got to figure out what they're doing with Eternals, because the voice you hear in the post-credit stinger
is Mahershala Ali.
Is Blade.
Yeah, it's Mahershala Ali.
It's Mahershala Ali as Blade. And so this is going to get freaking goofball real quick.
We're in so there's two things back to the original comment about Kevin Feige and team playing it slow, because they have so many of these phases and they can just keep printing money essentially, which gets into the Spider-Man discussion in a second. They can basically just keep printing money. As much as they've been spending on Disney Plus, they're making it back tenfold. And so as they're working through these things, they don't have to bring in Daredevil right away. They can just keep teasing it for phase 5, and we'll hang on. Like, I'm here for it. If you tell me that he's coming back in a series in 2024 or something like that, and it's gonna have Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, I'm done. There, see ya. Sign me up.
Yeah.
You know? I want to talk about something that was in the chat, because somebody said Secret Wars, please and thank you now.
They have announced
that's coming.
Yeah, they've announced Secret Invasion as a show.
No. Secret Wars though is coming, and I think that's where this thing gets turned on its head.
Samuel L. Jackson tweeted because he'd started filming.
Yes. There's a picture of him, I think, floating around the interwebs.
Yes.
It's a promo photo, but it's a good one.
He started, Marvel Studios, Secret Invasion. See, it's him. Yeah. He's been posting about Secret Invasion quite a bit. So, Secret Invasion, Secret Wars, which I think they're going to merge those stories.
I think one's going to set up the other, frankly.
Yeah. And so there's a good, I'll put this in here.
Maybe that's the phase 4 team up, and because we're gonna need the origin story for Fantastic Four, and so
that's another interesting one. Also, it was confirmed that Deadpool 3 is in some stage of development.
Yes,
that's been confirmed by both Disney and by Ryan Reynolds. It's not dead.
Yeah. But what I'm seeing basically with phase 4, and they're probably, I would say by San Diego Comic-Con next year, they're going to announce the beginning of phase 5. And that's going to give us some hints.
As far as what's going to happen.
Yeah, because if you look at the end of phase 4 runs up to 2023, and usually Disney likes to be 2 to 3 years ahead on announcements to give people something to look forward to.
Let's talk about next year San Diego, because when they bought Fox, Kevin Feige said 5 years before I touch the X-Men.
I call bullshit on that.
Well, here's the thing. Next year at San Diego Comic-Con,
it's
5 years.
If they announce out to that, or
if they announce next year, it will have been 5 years since the Fox merger.
They did.
It was announced in 2018. It was completed March 20th of 2019.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
but it won't be 5 years by then. You mean it'll be 5 years before the thing gets announced or gets released?
Yep.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
I would guess that you're probably going to get a preliminary. Now, we got a weird thing in that they're doing additional episodes of the X-Men animated series.
Yeah, I don't understand that one. Not that I'm complaining. Love that soundtrack.
Literally, from the end of the series, they're just extending.
Okay, that makes sense.
They're just making more.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Cool.
Okay, I love that. I think that's part of the plan.
Yeah, to as a holdover as they get it going. Yeah, because to then insert a version of X-Men into the current MCU as we're getting to Kang the Conqueror and eventually to Galactus and stuff like that.
I'm with a lot of people. I don't know how they're going to do it.
I have my faith in it.
Honestly, no. I think they're going to do it fine.
Yeah.
I just don't know how. My best guess is it's going to be Quantumania.
I think it's going to be part of Quantumania because we get more. First off, we get
multiverse madness.
Well, and we get my thing too. Well, we've started the mutant thing with WandaVision too. And we've shown and then what's it, Elektra, that we now have because her friend went through the portal. So we're showing the thing of mutants, and Wanda put a whole fucking spell on the world, essentially, like put out that energy, which means something's gonna happen. The question is it going to be young X-Men, or are we gonna get Hugh Jackman as Wolverine again?
You gotta remember, he was the one that crossed over from the original franchise back to First Class.
Yep.
I don't know what they're gonna do.
Here's the most important thing, though.
I don't think we're gonna know until 2023.
God, no. The next year's 2022. I think we'll learn. I think we'll know by San Diego Comic-Con next year.
Well, I think we know what they're going to release. Yeah, but I don't think we know how they're going to do it until they get into the 2023 stuff.
No, and I think we may. Yeah, but there's a lot of money. Chat saying Jackman said he was done after Logan. There's a lot of money that says differently. Yeah, and a guy like him could pull it off.
Now, here's the thing. Jackman is an interesting guy, and if anybody was going to be like, no, I'm done, I would buy it from him, right? Where he went, Logan was my swan song. It was the perfect way, and we can talk about that some other time. Chat, let us know if you want us to do a whole cast on that, because Logan was the perfect way to end that character.
Yep.
It was probably one of the best comic book movies ever made.
Yep. I often wonder too, could we get the X-23 back from that?
That would be, now see that right there.
That's why I'm sort of playing up the because if you get a Young Avengers thing going on, you can bring in X-23 from a different dimension, right? She played an amazing character for that. Or you could go with an X-Men First Class style, but not with Brett Ratner, and do it well, and have the emergence of the mutants happening. I think there's a couple different ways you can play it. You don't necessarily have to bring in fully fleshed out, we are the X-Men, cuckoo, right?
You're gonna have to make some changes.
Yep.
To certain origin stories because it just no longer makes sense. Again, unless you do some weird multiversal shit. So now that we're talking about the multiverse, let's go back to what chat was talking about with Spider-Man. Tip was talking about Defoe and Molina are back.
Yes.
So, by the way,
Jamie Foxx.
Yep. I saw a very funny little mini interview with Tom Holland where he was talking about. So apparently they had them on set before they were filming, but they were wearing these big cloaks apparently to hide their appearance on set. And Holland said he was walking around and bumped into a dude in a cloak. It was like, "Hey man, get who?" And then turn around, it was Willem Dafoe. And he was like, "Eep." Like, oh, never mind. I'm excited to get them back too.
Yeah.
I have 2 concerns about this film, and I'm looking forward to it. Somebody jumped in. Hawkeye show. Hope you're both on board. We are both on board.
We are. We are. Watch it back on YouTube, loser, or on the VOD after this. You'll catch the whole thing. We've moved on to Phase 4 to finish out the show.
We're talking Phase 4 stuff.
Specifically, Spiderman.
One, this thing is chock full of bad guys.
Yep. It's almost like you need 3 Spider-Mans to defeat them all.
Well, no, my issue is every time they've jammed this many into a Spider-Man, like Spider-Man 3 with Tobey.
Yep.
Like Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Andrew. You jam so many villains in, it starts to get a little overstuffed. And we all know from the Venom post-credit scene, right? For those that don't know, at the end of Venom, in the post-credit scene, Venom Let There Be Carnage, he does this weird like, and then falls through and sees Spider-Man.
Yep.
On the TV. So, oh, he looks tasty.
Well, specifically, he sees the J. Jonah Jameson version at the end of the Spider-Man Far From Home, where J. Jonah Jameson does the thing and exposes Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that version of Venom, and
he falls through a portal or does something.
He falls through the multiverse, basically.
Yeah.
It's Tom. What Tom is that? Which Tom are we?
Hardy.
I would want to say Holland, but Tom Hardy's Venom falls through, and yeah. So I think that could be the Sinister Sixth villain that we have.
So,
or could be fighting with him, because all right, you've seen the Brazilian cut, right, where Lizard gets punched in the face.
Yeah. So here's my theory.
Yep.
My theory is that because at the end of Spider-Man 2 with Tobey.
Yep.
Doc Ock essentially like redeems himself at the very end, right?
Yeah.
So my theory for Spider-Man No Way Home is that, especially if you look at the part of the trailer where they're kind of questioning him in the dungeon and things like that, I think that Ock is going to end up on Tom Holland Spider-Man's team. I think he's a scientist, and I think he's going to go, no, this is wrong. These people don't belong here. I'm going to help you put everybody back.
I think it all goes to shit at the end. Thank you, Doctor Strange. I don't think Doc Ock gets the chance to help him with like that though. Because we got to go straight into Multiverse of Madness right off the beat of Spider-Man. And
yes, that is our next film.
And from what I've heard, again, this is, you got to slow play it with Kevin Feige. But I think it's going to literally roll in from one to the next one. And
do you think we're going to go post-credit Spider-Man straight into Multiverse of Madness?
Yeah. I think it could be one of those things where they think that they have done what they were supposed to do, and then it's like a WandaVision type thing where you realize, no, she's actually reading the damn book she's not supposed to be reading. And it's like, oh, well, okay, we're fucked. And then you're going straight into the next one.
Well, we know Wanda's a big player in Multiverse of Madness.
Supposedly, yeah, she's supposed to be in there. But there's also been talk about Daredevil showing up, and that's the person that would be shooting him. I mean, it's all sorts of things all over the place. But it's all I mean, it is funny because it's all happening in fucking Hell's Kitchen in Brooklyn.
How bad is the backlash if Tobey and Andrew do not show up in this movie?
First off, I don't think it's going to happen. I think they are going to show up in this movie.
So you're in the John Campea camp where like there's nothing that can convince you that Tobey and Andrew are not in this movie.
Yeah, there's nothing that tells me that Miles Morales won't make a show in this movie either.
Well, I would be thrilled with that.
Hell fucking yeah. Because Into the Spider-Verse was so fucking good.
By the way, Amy Pascal this week said we should be seeing a sneak peek of Into the Spider-Verse 2, quote, very soon.
Yeah. It was so well done.
Thrilled.
Well done. Yeah. And so I think you can do it. That's the thing, is I think if you can pull off the mind-bending craziness that Into the Spider-Verse was,
but they don't even need to bring him in from another dimension because they already teased his existence.
Oh yeah, no. I'm just saying, I think we see him. Like, you could have multiple Spider-Mans and one be Miles Morales.
You think he could, dude? That would be the twist that would fucking screw everybody up. And if Feige pulls that off, that is the ultimate slow pay, because you got Donald Glover to play Aaron, Miles' Uncle Aaron.
Yep.
In Homecoming, and you even hear him on the phone. Sorry, Miles, I can't make it. Right. Yeah. So we know, based on that line of dialogue, that Miles Morales exists in the MCU somewhere.
Yep. And we know that Stark Tech is out there, and there's actually multiple versions of the spider suit that's going to be used. Right.
The amount of, because you got to remember, there was a 5-year gap in the blip where where Tom Holland went away and came back, didn't age. By that point, Miles Morales could be of the age where he could be Spider-Man right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh. So I've thrown it. I do think that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield will have some sort of presence. Will they be in a suit? Andrew's the only one that's been like super like, nope, I'm not coming back kind of thing. Tobey Maguire hasn't said much.
No, right? He's been silent.
Maybe for the better. Who knows? I think that one or both of them do show up. I think we get our Into the Spider-Verse type thing. But my other theory of that, and y'all can clip this and put it out there and we'll see, is that the ghost thing that's punching the lizard could be Miles Morales, and that's how we get it. It could be Miles Morales from this dimension, or it could be from another dimension, but I think that's the only way. I think that's the only way you set this up properly. You know, if Amy Pascal is to be believed, which I do,
there's three more movies coming.
Miles Morales is the perfect one to carry that, not Tom Holland. Though I do love Tom Holland better than all other Spider-Men out there.
He has been, in my opinion, the best one.
Yeah. Mojab in the chat was like, you got to have Tobey Maguire. He's meme material. Yes. That's why I think he's there. I honestly do think that's why he's there.
I want to jump back because we're talking about Phase 4 now.
Okay.
Daredevil is likely to show up in the Echo Disney Plus show. Now, I buy that more.
100%.
Than him showing up in either Spider-Man or in this show. If you're going to bring back Charlie Cox, I think that's probably the way to do it.
Yeah. Well, and Loser missed our discussion earlier about the whole Echo flip from hero, from villain to anti-hero to hero kind of thing, and there's the Daredevils in there in the comics and stuff like that too. So he's touching on exactly kind of what we were talking about. Is like, that is critical. The Kingpin is critical to that. So like, if there's an Echo, like Echo might turn into like Daredevil season 3.5 and set up another Phase 5 Daredevil where she's there and all of that kind of stuff, which would be great.
So I'm going to say this, and this is where I want to get into the business side of this.
Okay.
The way they've structured the release of these shows, especially with COVID, where everybody's been thrown for freaking loops. What Disney has managed to do is trickle it out in a nice, solid. We haven't gotten a huge gap the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay. Even during COVID, right? And doing the weekly release schedule, running this the way that they've run it, right, has kept it fresh in everybody's mind. It's kept everybody from getting Marvel fatigue, but they have kept up a production schedule with all of their stuff that just keeps it chugging along. I wish Star Wars would do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of frustrated that in the next, so from 2021 to 2023, we will get 10 Marvel movies.
Yeah.
10 Marvel movies. 10. And we are going to get a total of 0 Star Wars movies.
And there was an interesting article out this week that said...
And that frustrates me.
No, but there's an interesting article this week that said that's okay, because the Star Wars movies from the prequels to the sequels so far have been jack terrible. And I can argue against that thread all day, but I do think they have made such great strides in the Disney Plus shows to build out great stories that it is fueling that itch.
I will argue that one of the 3 best Star Wars movies that was ever released came out under Disney's watch.
Rogue One.
Still
one of the best Star Wars movies of all time. Plain and simple.
Great film.
So I think there's a few things that have been released or talked about for Phase 5.
Let's look.
As far as I know, it is, well, we know there's going to be the X-Men stuff that'll get pulled in some way. We know there's going to be the New Avengers or Young Avengers or something like that.
So Blade, we know, is Phase 5.
Yep. Well, no, actually, I think it's actually mentioned for Phase 4, I thought.
They're calling it Phase 5 now.
Okay.
Based on the thing.
All right, I'm pulling up Phase 4 as well.
So I've got Phase 4 up.
Okay.
So...
Because I have Blade coming in Phase 4 in 2023 alongside Quantumania and the Fantastic Four.
So Fantastic Four does not have a release date yet. Quantumania is the last movie that has a release date. Fantastic Four has been announced. It's in production at some point, but they have not announced a release date on it. We don't... Moon Knight, they haven't released a date, but I've obviously started filming.
All they've said is it's confirmed sometime after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is Cinco de Mayo in 2023.
Right. So, and the last one is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is expected to release in July of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the last one that's got an actual release date.
Mm-hmm.
Blade, we know, is coming. If you believe Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool.
A lot of people believe that it's either X-Force and Deadpool or something along those lines.
That might be another way to bring the mutants in.
Yeah. So there's definitely. So here's the things that we do know are coming. We know we're getting
a Captain America movie with new Captain America. Yep. Yeah. Sam is. They are doing a movie.
Yep. We know that we're getting Captain Marvel 2 at some point. We know
that's the Marvels.
What's that?
That's the Marvels.
Yeah, but that got moved. I don't think that's released anymore. It doesn't have a release date. We have Miss Marvel.
Yeah, no.
Oh no, we have Captain Marvel 2 was supposed to be November 11th of next year.
Now it is, the Marvels is now February 17th of 2023.
Okay, so it got slid.
So that's
we know we're getting
Yeah.
So we know we're getting Eternals 2. We know we're going to get a Shang-Chi 2.
They haven't announced Eternals 2 yet.
I thought it was already announced. I was fairly certain we had it. As far as I'm concerned, I read the plot synopsis to Eternals because it's not on Disney Plus just yet. I can be done with that whole series already. And again, it's so esoteric. It does set up Galactus and all of that kind of stuff, but
it does. And here's the thing: I want to watch Eternals, and like you, I watch it not on Disney Plus. I mean, I don't. Let's see what its box office is looking like.
It wasn't great.
346, which in the realm of COVID. No, it didn't even do as well as Black Widow.
No, it didn't, and that's the thing. Because when you've got Spider-Man selling out theaters already, like they're just destroying pre-COVID. Like their numbers right now with the new version of COVID that's Omicron, I think is what we're up to now. They're selling as many tickets as getting up there towards like Endgame and that sort of thing. Like people are hyped for this movie.
Shang-Chi will get a sequel. It did 431.
Yep.
But right now, Eternals is sitting at 346. I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah.
It may not get a sequel. They may farm characters from it, but it may not get a sequel.
I Well, and I think with Kit Harington's character going off and playing Black Knight and stuff like that, I think that's okay. I think you're going to see the pieces and parts of this in the Galactic, because
maybe in Guardians Volume 3.
Exactly. I think we were talking about the different phases, and Marvel's always had this from the beginning of, like, there's the on Earth phase, that's the spy type shit that you're going to see with Hawkeye, Falcon, Winter Soldier, all the kind of more grounded kind of stories. Then you've got the traditional superhero-y type stories that you're getting with, like, Spider-Man, and where it's still grounded on Earth and it's still got, you know, superheroes and villains and stuff like that. And then you got the cosmic shit that's just way the fuck out there with Thor and Guardians and Adam Warlock, which is going to happen. So there will be an Adam Warlock thing coming, which will be interesting. So yeah, so I think there's just a lot of that kind of stuff. So I think we're going to get back to establishing those three main threads.
Kind of that different levels.
Yeah, and so for, you know, and we got it with Loki. We got like WandaVision was kind of, WandaVision started at the low and then like ramped up quickly at the end to the cosmic. You know, and I think we're getting the opposite of that now with Falcon and Winter Soldier and with Hawkeye. So I don't know. I think we're getting to a point where we're starting to get those grooves going, and we'll start to, you know, the one thing that Feige and them have done with few exceptions, because there's Thor 2 that was terrible. Iron Man 3 was terrible. Like, there's been some stinkers, right? It's quantity, right? Law of statistics, you're going to have some issues. But, like, they do a really good job making those three threads, putting characters that are memorable that you want to see in there, and then drip feeding that over time so you don't get too worn out on any one character, which I think was interesting. Adam Warlock was teased in 2017, but they officially announced that it was coming very recently. Actually, they introduced the person.
They did. Yeah.
So
because they casted it.
Yeah. They cast
Will Poulter.
Yeah, who I think is going to make a really good. I think he's going to make a really good Adam Warlock. So, and
I'll
then
be
at the
interested to see.
So the thing about the end of the Eternals too, before we go on too far from that, is they had the double post credit scenes, because they had Thanos' brother, who's basically like I don't know.
And they introduced Puck.
Yeah, his superpower is to fuck everyone, quite literally. And Puck is played by what's his face?
Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt. So Mr. Ratatouille himself. Back on the Disney drip. So that's not going away anytime soon. We're gonna get those two eventually.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so much going on with their stuff. Just so much. So interestingly enough, for those of you in the Seattle area, I checked beforehand. There are still tickets available for opening day for Spider-Man. You can go see Spider-Man opening day here in the Seattle Metro. It's there. They haven't sold out yet. They're pretty close. It's pretty tight, but you can still get tickets for reasonable prices. So
there's not a huge oversale on
by
some
the
of
way,
the stuff.
But that actually brings me to something else. I actually was watching a thing earlier today. So Variety one of the industry groups, and Variety reported on it, did a huge survey. And they said 49% of the pre-pandemic movie-going public has not returned to theaters.
Yeah.
And that the reason they did the study is that the numbers still aren't where they want them to be, even with Spider-Man's incredible pre-sale. They've got to figure this out. And the theaters specifically are panicking.
I mean,
they took a huge hit during the pandemic, during the height of it, and they're not recovering very quickly. The numbers just aren't there.
I will say this as somebody who is, I get my booster on Friday.
That's what I was just looking. I was like, can I go on Friday?
Yeah, I'm getting my booster on Friday. I've been very good about dodging this thing for 2 years now. We're going on 2 years of this shit. 2 years. And I know a lot of people are acting like it's over with. We ain't even gotten through half this yet. I'm telling you, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but we're not halfway through this pandemic, frankly. We joked about it in the Discord about we're more, there's only a few more Greek letters left, and I'm like, yeah, but then we get to see Kang the Conqueror at the end of this thing. Like, it's kind of that way. I think there's two things that are hopping this, is that streaming is a much easier way to get into people's hands directly. It's much easier nowadays to get a good soundbar to reenact the theater experience.
Now,
yeah,
to counter that, both everybody that's done it during the pandemic, both HBO and Disney, who had the big pushes at it, the numbers of people who stream it is still not making up for the difference.
Well, that's because they're doing these weird premium subscription things.
HBO didn't. HBO released them straight up.
Yeah, but what was HBO's big one that they wanted to win?
So there was a couple things that they released this year. So Wonder Woman 84,
which was terrible.
Hang on.
You won't get me to a theater to watch a DC movie. I'm sorry.
So earlier this year, I'm trying to find the list. New movies. I'm trying to remember the day and date releases, same day premieres.
So Matrix Resurrections will be the one that comes out in December, which I will stream that.
Here are the ones they did: Suicide Squad, Godzilla vs. Kong. Okay, here we go. Judas of the Black Messiah, Godzilla vs. Kong, Mortal Kombat, In the Heights, Space Jam, Suicide Squad, Dune. And then the last 4 that they've got this year that are coming is Many Sins of Newark, King Richard, Cry Macho, and Matrix 4.
None of those I would have gone. Maybe In the Heights I would have gone to the theater to see, because I love that story and I love Lin-Manuel Miranda. Dune, I'm not a big Dune fan. I know you and Joe went.
Me and Joe went to a late night showing to try and avoid humans, and it actually, and I'll come back to what happened at this thing. Here's what I'll say: the numbers, and all the streamers have said they just haven't hit them, right? Like, new sub hasn't come in. Disney did that weird thing. Now here's the thing with Disney's thing: I paid for it a couple times during the pandemic, because especially for my kids' movies, right? Because if me, my spouse, and my kid go to a movie, you know this, it's $45 just for tickets.
True.
Right? So when Disney goes, it's $30, I'm like, that's a cost savings to me. Okay?
That's true.
I will pay that. So I did a couple times during the pandemic when they did those Premier Access BS. Now here's the other thing about the Premier Access, and this is where I think Disney made a mistake. It made it look like it was like an iTunes rental, where you had 24 hours.
Yeah.
Right? No. You could watch it as many times as you wanted until the standard Disney Plus date. So, like, we did it for Mulan, because my daughter wanted to watch Mulan, the new Mulan movie. You get it over and over again. It's yours now.
Yeah.
Mulan was not good. It wasn't.
It wasn't a good movie. Yeah.
Just that's how Mulan was. It wasn't good.
Yeah. If you'd have put Star Wars Rogue One in Premier Access.
Yeah.
Done.
I've been back to the theater twice. You were with me. The one thing, I rented out a private theater for my kid's birthday. We limited access to people who were vaccinated, and we all wore masks. It was for my daughter's 7th birthday. We had an entire movie theater, and there was 16 of us, 15 of us.
Yeah, we were spread out, thankfully.
Right. So, and then I went and saw Dune. Those are the only 2 times. So coming back to Dune, here's the issue with the movie theaters. You cannot control people.
Nope.
I went and saw Dune in the theater, and I remembered certain things that I hate about the theater. There were these two kids, and they were probably 15 or 16, and I was like this when I was 15 or 16. I was an obnoxious little shit, right? But literally up and down at least 6 times during the movie.
Yeah.
Like, stand up, full height. I'm a teenage boy. Gotta make my presence known, right?
Peacocking all the way the fucking around.
Oh,
yeah.
Fuck yeah. On their way in and out of the theater, I'm like, motherfucker, sit the fuck down.
Yeah.
Like, can we... So,
I'd have given you $5 if you'd have thrown a drink at him and said the spice must flow.
if you would have made me the offer ahead of time, I probably would have done it. Like, hit people. So it really does. You can't control people.
Yeah.
We figured we were going to have an okay time because it was so late at night.
Yeah.
Right? I think our showing started at 10:45 that I was like, there's going to be like 8 people in the theater and they're all going to be wanting to actually watch the movie. Nope. And that's the downside to the theater experience right now.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
And it's expensive.
Yep. It's
and if you pay for one of the premium theaters, it's even more expensive.
Right. It's the amount of I have to go and deal with the theater, which means I have to be around people. I have to deal with them sitting next to me sometimes, which I definitely, under pre-COVID, I didn't want anybody sitting next to me. Only person I'm sitting next to me is friends who I even at least try to keep one seat in between us so I can just lean over and do. Because I just don't like people on top of me. The only person I do is the people that are biologically related to me, and I have to. I'm okay with that part. But, like, I'm just not... You can do too much at home nowadays. And with my busy schedule that we've talked about on the show a lot, with my busy schedule, I'm looking at it on a fucking small screen half the time. I watched Shang-Chi on a flight to a shoot, and I was perfectly happy. It was fantastic. Put some AirPods in, so I got the actual, like, a little bit more of the audio movie experience. Disney Plus does a really good job of, formulating the audio for headphones and even with spatial headphones and stuff. It's fantastic. Loved it. We'll watch Eternals that way, actually.
Since it's out.
Is it out now?
No, not yet.
Oh, as soon as it's out. Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as it's out.
Yeah.
I will look that up.
Yeah. Oh, Bit Player's running it down. Tickets, $45. Popcorn, $10. Watered down carbonated syrup, $10. Bathroom, all the way down the hall. And then there's that one creepy guy. Yes, there's always that one creepy guy.
Now, here's the thing, Bit. I will say this, and Sean will back me up on this. And I'm looking at this even closer now. So AMC, for example, does private theater rentals, right?
Yes.
There was 16 of us. I paid, for my kid's birthday, I paid $170 for the whole theater.
We saw Addams Family too, by the way, for anybody who's curious.
That was my kiddo. She loves Addams Family.
Yep.
And creepypasta shit. So that's what she want to watch. Shit. But here's the thing. It was the week after it came out. It was $169, and you could have up to 20 people. If you break that down per person per ticket, it's cheaper that way. If you can get the 20 together, and in fact, I was looking for private theater rentals for Spider-Man. I can't get in there until the 27th. If you can do it, I absolutely would look into it.
Yeah.
Because if you can get 10 friends together, it's still probably cheaper than going to a standard film.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to have a better time.
The question that becomes, and we talked about this with our debate with Netflix and the binge model versus the every week model of, for the biggies like Spider-Man, and I don't know what part of the country I'll be in when it releases, but is that one you can wait on? Because that is the
so this goes back also to our spoiler discussion about how long do spoilers last.
Exactly.
I am presuming, because I do not intend on going on opening day.
You got something kind of important that night.
Yeah, but I'm saying I probably wouldn't have gone on opening day regardless, even if I didn't have that going that night, because I don't want to be around people. because there's still a thing. I don't want to be packed into a theater with sold out crowds.
Yeah, especially since we don't know what we don't actually know what's happening with the Omicron virus version of the virus and whether it actually works with anything yet. We just don't know. That's not me trying to like
little data.
Yeah,
very little data.
That's not me trying to like scaremonger or anything like that. It's just we literally don't know yet. So
no, to be fair, the South African medical establishment has been dealing with HIV outbreaks and all kinds of stuff for years. They actually have a really good medical research teams in South Africa.
Yes, they do.
The stuff I've seen from those teams is saying that this is kind of the mutation we've been waiting for.
Yeah,
it's more virulent, but it's extremely mild.
Yeah,
that's their. South Africa's initially saying very virulent, very mild.
Got it.
We'll see. Hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, that's the earliest. Like we need to see what happens with a larger sample base. That's the problem.
Yep. I am presuming that Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be spoiled for me. I
will be honest in saying
just accepted that.
Yeah, and I'm going to be real honest in saying I did the same thing happened with me with Venom. I just watched there's several YouTubers that I watch that I wish I had the dedication they did to like make YouTube videos, because I don't know how hard they work. I imagine they work pretty hard, especially on weeks where it's Spider-Man mania and stuff. But man, do I enjoy watching their videos and doing what we're doing right now and being like, is the Kingpin uncle? And just like debating the nerd shit of what could happen, because I love that kind of stuff. It's fun for me. That's also why subsequently, while I'm never let down when it's not what I think it is, because I know I'm making random ass theories and thoughts just like I did with Game of Thrones, and that was a letdown. But not because it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. You know, it was just
if Uncle picks her up and it's Kingpin,
fantastic.
I will jump off my couch. I will jump up and down. Okay?
Yeah.
And I will be thrilled, right? Like, I love those moments.
Yeah.
Again, I'm presuming No Way Home, I'm going to know what's going to happen before I walk in the theater. I'm not even going to try and avoid it because
I just don't
think it's going to be possible.
To me, and this
part of it to me is the journey too.
Well, yeah, I was going to say we got to this in the spoiler cast episode last week. Is it's still not going to change. I know how Cowboy Bebop ends, but it does not change my enjoyment of how they get there. And how they pull it off from a writing, a set decoration, an art direction kind of perspective, you know,
visualization. Yeah.
When I was much younger and Star Wars was getting me started in the filmmaking and storytelling and stuff, I would rewatch it 50 million times just to notice all the VFX, practical and otherwise. And so there's all these different things. That's why I like watching Pixar movies, because I'm like, they pulled that off these days? Holy shit. And so for me, that's just me personally. I know others want to be surprised with the story and stuff like that. I think I get just as much excitement even if it was spoiled ahead of time. But to be fair, that is a legitimate like issue that we're having with this theater to no theater kind of thing. And I don't want to proclaim the death of theaters, because I know that in post whatever, whenever we can get in post-COVID era, assuming we can ever get to a post-COVID era, I think people are going to want that ability to have date night and stuff like that again.
So interestingly enough, the number one reason listed after COVID in this study that was done was actually cost.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And the thing that the theater, specifically their industry groups, the theater owners groups, who I actually know what the name of it is, they're saying that part of it is sticker shock. And the thing is that what's interesting to me, and I saw this coming a while ago, you don't have... If the movie You've Got Mail was made right now, it would never hit a movie theater.
Oh, God, yeah.
It would go straight to a streamer.
Yep.
Or it'd a premium service like Amazon.
Yeah, it'd be a Netflix or Prime Video.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those films, which made up some of the revenue change, right? Yeah. Which allowed some of the studios to take slightly smaller cuts from the theaters, which allowed the theater owners to make a little bit more. Right? Those movies don't go to theaters anymore. The only thing that's there is blockbusters. And those movies cost, I'm curious, let's see, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Has to be a couple $100 million at least in production costs.
Budget. Now, something for the chat, if you didn't know this, right? If you look at a movie's budget, when you see their budget, the budget is what it costs to make the movie. On average, for a blockbuster type movie, they spend that amount again on marketing. Double the budget, take the budget, and just do that same number. That's what they spent on marketing. And
sometimes it's actually twice the amount they spend on the...
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Spider-Man, they actually may have cut their marketing budget a little bit because they don't need to. They're getting so much earned media from YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, everything. They're not worried about it.
Yeah, well, you say that.
I'm not seeing many TV spots. Like, I don't see the same level of TV or internet advertising for this one that I've seen for a lot of other stuff.
There's still a number of TV spots that are out there that are $1 million a pop to run. And every time that Tom Holland and Zendaya go on a show, they get paid to do that. They don't go on there. This is not a chat show out of the good. Spoiler alert, behind the curtain, if we wanted to interview any of them, we would actually have to pay them to come onto this show. They don't do it for free.
Assume it's $250 million budget. Yeah. Right?
Which is tame for Marvel.
Right. Which is, pretty tame for Marvel. It's going to make that money back. It's going to get there, but that's the thing is that...
It might have already made the money back.
Big budget. I actually think those numbers are out. So, how much have they sold? It's got the highest since Endgame.
Yep.
200. Nope. Looking to see if they've got a number yet. They haven't said. They have not said yet. Highest pre-sales since Endgame, though. So there you go. It's going to make its money back. That's the only movies left in theaters. It's the only ones anybody goes to. And so that's jacked the ticket prices up because these studios have to make the money back.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying about the streamers is that they saw during the pandemic. Like, HBO Max wasn't releasing stuff and getting enough new subscribers when they released the Suicide Squad or whatever to make the budget back. When they did Black Widow on Premier Access, they didn't make the money back.
Yeah.
That they would have in a normal situation.
That's true.
And so, as of right now, even though, again, I think Premier Access for Disney Plus specifically is a good deal for what it is you pay $30 and you can watch as many times as you want and you don't have to go to a theater, and that's still cheaper than movie tickets. I think that not enough people have adopted that philosophy yet.
I think it's gonna come, and I think that the blockbusters, the standard rom-coms that you were talking about earlier, those are all in your Netflixes and your Prime videos and stuff like that. They're gone. They're not going to make it to movie theaters. There's no way or reason you would spend the money to get them in there.
You are not going to see When Harry Met Sally in a movie theater.
Yeah. And I think because I don't think, and one of the reasons, this is a whole nother thing, because we're going to wrap it up here in a second, but this is a whole nother thing. I don't think that the movie theaters is going to be the destination post-COVID for teenagers to go out and make out. I think that you're going to get more people at home or in different places. Because let's be honest, not another teen movie, scary movies, all those kind of things used to be the tent pole for when we were kids and teenagers growing up, to be like, I'm just going to go check out the latest flick because why the fuck not? There's nothing else to do in small town America on a Friday night. You got different choices now to do those kinds of things. And I think that you're going to see entertainment change to a way that, we're much more transient people nowadays, and we're much more on the go and have access to things that are on the go. And you're going to start seeing more of these things. The blockbusters, they're going to turn them into entire events. and things like that. It's going to be a whole viewing parties and these kind of things. I think that you're going to get post-COVID.
That actually is something I would pay for.
Yeah, but that's what they're going to do. They're going to shift from the marketing budget to let you know about it per se, or they're going to cut a little bit of the budgets for the production side of it. And then they're going to put that into like making these things into event spaces and working with the theater owners there. That's my prediction. You guys can clip it and we'll come back to it in a couple of years or so.
I know we got some great ones for the Hawkeye predictions and Spider-Man predictions and stuff. I
charge you to put that out on the TikTok because you know that better than I do. But put those out there and tag me on that, and y'all can hold me to it. That'll be my Hawkeye and Spider-Man predictions.
Oh, we'll see. Well, hey, supposedly Uncle's picking them up at the beginning of the next episode, so Uncle we might know about soon.
Yeah.
To recap for chat, we both really liked Hawkeye. I know some people came in late and were like, hey, hope you guys are on board. We're both on board. Yeah. I think, last thing, the timing of this is perfect for them because they get 6. They did that double first 2 episode release.
Yep.
Then they get 4.
Yep.
And literally the week after Hawkeye's done, bam, Book of Boba Fett.
Woo!
And so they lock in more than 2 months
of
just
content.
Solid, good programming. And that's on top of the fact that Disney Plus has just got so much vault content.
Yep.
Okay. If you haven't gone back to rewatch the Goofy movie again with Disney Plus, you're missing out. Go watch that bloody movie. It was way brilliant.
All right. Before we cut off, because this has been mentioned twice, 2 or 3 times now in the chat.
Go ahead.
The most important thing coming up on the platform as we talk about Marvel in Phase 4. Next year, we get the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. Get excited for that part. That's going to be fun. I don't know who's going to show up. Who the fuck knows? It could be just like the Star Wars special for all we know and want to be forgotten to time. I don't know.
So
but we get it next year.
We'll have to decide if Chris Pratt's weirdness has hurt Guardians.
Oh god, that's a whole nother hour-long discussion.
Yeah, I know, right? Holiday special. Okay, I would rewatch the Star Wars holiday special again. They should put that on Disney Plus too.
I think it's coming or it's already there. We'll have to
no, so they have the Lego Star Wars holiday special, which I watched with Jordan last year, and it is very funny. Like legit.
Yeah, I actually need to bring that up because I haven't watched it with mine. So, all right, love it. Let's put it in the can and ship it. Alex, where can people find you?
You can find me on all of the different social medias at Alex the Humanoid. And, of course, go grab our books at playidenteco.com.
Yep.
Because we love you.
We have all sorts of merch. We actually just released a new Chaos Inc. holographic sticker that's at the site. That's currently in our warehouse between one of our 2 places. That we get in there. So go check us out there. If you want to follow along with me, hit me up at the Mallo Man, literally on just about any platform in the world. I am there. Alex is at Alex the Humanoid on just about any platform in the world. You can find us there. You can also join our Discord, which should be linked below here in the chat and will be in the YouTube links as well if you're watching this afterwards. And it'll also be, we're going to get back to actually putting these things up in podcast format. It's a little bit harder to edit the audio for that, but we'll figure it out and get these things up there. But there is in YouTube an audio format. If you're a premium subscriber there, you can just listen in audio and you can just hear us in the background.
Latest episode of Chaos Inc. is up on YouTube
as of Monday.
Right now.
Yep.
Is up there now, and we should have another one shot. If you missed our one shot, with the Angel City crew, that should be coming. Soon.
It's actually on Friday. So we have these weeks where we can put out 3 videos a week. So Monday it was Chaos Inc. because it was our off week for the show. So catch up on it. I make a cameo as a news broadcaster to cover up the technical issues that Twitch gave us. So keeps the story going though. A lot of important things happen in that particular episode. So catch up with it for sure. Our thoughts on Cowboy Bebop from last week's show went up live on the YouTube today, and then on Friday we've got one from a few of the Angel City Stories crew called One for the Road. It's a one shot that connects to Chaos Incorporated, if I am correct.
It is.
So that's coming on Friday at 10. So take a look at that as well, because all of the beautiful juicy lore is all there for you. So it'll be fantastic. Until then, go get your booster shots if you can. Continue to mask up because we're in this together. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Drink your water. Take your vitamins. Stay weird. And we'll see you next week. All right.
Take care, everybody.
Mwah! Good night, y'all.